Producers and creators are the sources of all value on the planet. MC Laubscher, the host of the top-rated business and investing podcast Cashflow Ninja, is on a mission with Producers Wealth to help producers create, protect, and multiply their wealth outside of Wall Street in any economy by creating systems and processes that help them increase their production, provides them with liquidity, passive income generators, and opportunities for enormous growth. Learn more about their time-tested and proven systems at yourownbankingsystem.com. That's yourownbankingsystem.com.
Welcome to the Cashflow Ninja, the podcast sharing how to create income streams and manage, multiply, and protect your wealth in the new economy. Here is your host inside the dojo, MC Laubscher.
Hello, Cashflow Ninjas. MC Laubscher here, and welcome to another episode of the Cashflow Ninja. I have a great show for you today, and in today's show, I'm joined by my friend Dave Zook that will be sharing and exploring cashflow syndication opportunities with us. Dave Zook is a successful business owner and experienced real estate investor, active in the multifamily apartment space, self-storage, and resort community development, with real estate holdings in several states and several countries. Dave and his investors own well in excess of $150 million worth of real estate acquired since 2010, and he has more than 3,000 multifamily apartments in his portfolio in some of the hottest job markets in Texas and Memphis, Tennessee. Together with his business partner, Dave is a renowned and trusted professional resource in the automatic teller machine ATM investment market. They have deployed more than $60 million in investor capital, and they are heavily invested personally in the ATM space. Dave, along with his development partners, is actively involved as an advisor and lead investor in the planning and development of the largest resort community, Mahogany Bay Village, on the island of Ambergris Caye, Belize, which has been rated the #1 island in the world 2 years in a row by TripAdvisor and is one of the fastest growing regions in the Caribbean. Mahogany Bay Village opened to the public in December of 2017 as a curio collection by Hilton and is the very first branded resort on the island. My friend Dave Zook from The Real Asset Investor says you can be conventional or you can be wealthy. Pick one. The Real Asset Investor team creates value for investors looking for high yield returns from multifamily apartments, ATM machines, and self-storage investments. Their syndications offer attractive investment opportunities that produce strong cash flow, equity growth, huge tax incentives. They are truly passive and managed by a world-class team. To learn more about the exciting investment opportunities the Real Asset Investor offers, such as their multifamily, ATM, and self-storage syndications, please visit cashflowninja.com/Real Asset Investor. Dave, welcome back to the show.
Hey, MC. Thanks for having me back on your show.
Yeah, excited to connect again. Now, Dave, for my listeners that's not familiar with Dave Zook and the Real Asset Investor, can you please share a little bit about yourself and all the exciting things that you guys get into?
Yeah, so I live here in Lancaster, Pennsylvania with my family. Our family has a manufacturing business here in Lancaster, and we build a lot of modular buildings. And I'm also an investor. My real passion is investing in real assets. And I've been an investor from the time I was in my teens. And, I'll probably be an investor till the day I die. I just love this stuff. And I love teaching people about it. I love teaching people how to be responsible with their money and, teach those people how to get out of the rat race.
And Dave, you love to, as you mentioned, teach what you learn and share your journey, and you keep up to date with all the trends and learning from others. What have you been up to lately? I think you've done a little bit of traveling, attending a couple of conferences.
Yeah, so I was down at the Future of Money and Wealth conference with the real estate guys just about 2 weeks ago. I think it was in Fort Lauderdale. Really good event. Robert Kiyosaki, Peter Schiff, Brian London, Simon Black. I mean, Robert and Russ were the real estate guys. I mean, just a great group of guys. Normally in a conference like that, there's maybe a speaker that you've heard, a half a dozen times or something. They might be talking on some topic that, you don't think is going to really apply to you, and you can slip out and, meet with somebody that you want to have a conversation with. It wasn't like that this time around. It was like, man, if there was something going on in the room, you had to be in there. And then when I got out of the room, there was people that I wanted to talk to. I mean, it was busy. It was super busy. But no, other than that, I mean, it's been a quiet, probably about the last month. We closed our self-storage facility in Newberry, Florida, about probably 6 weeks ago. But we are ramping up. We're getting ready. We've, when it rains, it pours. So I got an ATM portfolio that we put under contract. That's coming up here. That's going to be ready for investors in the next probably week and a half. Right behind that, we've got another self-storage deal we're working on. That's going to be ready here in the next month or so. We're also working on a multifamily project down in just outside of Memphis, where we own a lot of multifamily buildings. That one's got a unique twist to it. That's got a HUD loan that we're assuming. It's got 33 years left on a 40-year loan at 3.25% interest. So got some really good stuff in the pipeline that I'm excited about. It's going to keep us busy. We've got a new development project going on down in Lake Charles, Louisiana. Just it'll be some fun times. We were fully funded in our project in Belize at Mahogany Bay Village, but we had our very first resale. So somebody who bought bought a lot 3 years ago, decided they want to take the profits and get out, and they're selling, and I saw that, and I came in and took advantage of that situation, and so we're open for business in Belize again. So got a little bit left there, just a lot of great opportunities that I'm excited about.
Fantastic. Now, Dave, your approach to investing lays a very, very big emphasis on team. And you've mentioned the importance of a team and having the right people around you in the past. Can you elaborate a little bit on your philosophical approach to investing and building and creating wealth, and the importance of the team in that approach? Well,
like I said, I was an investor since I was in my teens, and I got educated. This team thing is not something I was born with. This team thing comes from my emphasis on building a team and getting a team around me that's really competent is something that was pounded in my head. And believe me, I took the punishment for trying to do it on my own early on. But no, I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with Malcolm Gladwell's book, where he talks about the 10,000, it takes 10,000 hours to be an expert.
Yep.
Well, I don't have 10,000 hours that I can apply to both, to ATMs, to Belize, to self-storage, to multifamily, to new development. I don't have that many 10,000 hours that I can devote to each one of those asset classes to become an expert in them. So what I really like to do is I like to team up with people that have their 10,000 hours, that have their one thing that they're really good at. I'm in a self-storage team. It's the only thing they do. They've got 42 self-storage facilities that they own equity, that they're equity partners in. My ATM guys, they do ATMs. They're really good at it. So my partner in Memphis, I mean, he not only does just multifamily, he just does multifamily in Memphis. So I like to team up with people that have their one thing and they're really good at it. And if I can partner with those guys and bring value and bring my investors into a situation like that, team up with really successful operators, I love that stuff.
You make such a good point, Dave, because I think a lot of people think going into investing in stuff that they have to know everything about the asset class that they're going into, right? And to your point, and using Malcolm Gladwell as that example, if you want to self-storage and you're, for instance, a turnkey single family investor, and that's where your knowledge base is, or you're a business owner, and that's where you can make it rain. You do not have 10,000 hours to spend to master that one group of assets or asset class in a particular area, but someone else is already doing it and have already mastered it, and you can partner with them.
Well, you're right, and you can learn so much from being around people that are on top of their game. You know, the Bible talks about iron sharpens iron, and it talks about getting your team of advisors around you. And so, when you hang around really, really good people that are on top of their game, I mean, you can learn so much, and you're learning it from the pros.
Yeah. Absolutely. And you continue to learn and continue to share. Let's jump into some of these opportunities. You'd mentioned ATMs. Why is this asset class rather such a desirable asset class? What are some of the unique things about it that attracted you to it? And share a little bit more about that opportunity.
Yeah, so I like the asset class in its predictability. I mean, when you look at the overall trend, our whole portfolio is on an uptrend. When you take out the very small piece of the entire portfolio that's has exposure to malls, which is an interesting topic of its own.
Yeah,
the entire portfolio is on an uptrend. That means people are using more cash, not less, and that's interesting. People think that technology, Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, Apple Pay, Google Wallet, all those things are competing with cash, and the cash is going to go away. Well, the trends tell us otherwise. And when you think about how, even 10, 12 years ago, when an employee worked for a big company, at the Friday evenings, you would get a check and you would go to the bank. And you would deposit your check and you take out some cash and, for the week and you're good to go. Well, that doesn't happen anymore. The money goes straight, it gets ACH straight into your account. Well, how do you get the cash? You're going to drive across town and wait in line and get a couple $100 out to hold you over for the week. No, a lot of people just go down to their corner grocery store or deli or, right there's an ATM machine. They get $100 or $200 cash out that holds them over for the week. I mean, that's a trend. And you really got to remember who your clients are, who you're serving. Most of these people, they're not like you and I. They don't use credit cards. They, some of them are even unbankable. I mean, they live on cash.
Right. So true. And you've touched on another opportunity that you guys are looking at and self-storage. Could you share a little bit more about this asset class too, why it's desirable, some of the trends in this asset class, and a little bit more about that opportunity?
Well, one of the things that I really like about this asset class, when you look back over the last few decades, it's shown as a really recession-resistant asset class. Not only does it have really good cash flow and a lot of upside appreciation if it's done right with a really good team, but it has a really recession-resistant component to it. Just think about this: when people are downsizing, when they're moving, when they're changing jobs, when they losing their jobs, unfortunately, but when that stuff is happening, the self-storage space performs really, really well. It's sort of like C-class multifamily. When we started building our portfolio, soon after 2009, 2010, we started building that portfolio. We were thinking, okay, how do we build this portfolio in a way that we'd be okay in another downturn? I love asset classes that do really well when times are good, but it do even better when times are bad. And, people may have their own theories about where we are in the cycle, in the economic cycle. But, when you look at where we are and we're due for another downturn. Who knows if how bad it'll be, but or how much of a slowdown there'll be, but we are due for one. So when you look at where we are in that cycle and you can get into an asset class that does well even if there's a slowdown or a cool down, love it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is one thing that just from looking into it a little bit myself, that's very, very attractive, that regardless of where you are in the economic cycle, this is going to do and perform well. Can you share a little bit more about the team and the specific opportunity that you guys have within the self-storage niche?
Yeah. So one of my questions was like, when I first met the team, well, number one, whenever I get introduced to a new team, it's not somebody that came cold calling and said, "Hey, we do self-storage." I actually met this team through an investor in my network after doing some due diligence. I mean, there was a few investors in my network had invested in a whole bunch of different deals with these guys, and so that was important to me. I mean, I'm always much more concerned about what somebody's investor is saying about the promoter than I am about what the promoter is saying about the promoter. So that was a good start. Eventually, I had the guys fly up here to meet me, and one of the principals there flew up here to meet me. I've got a really good friend that lives just 15 miles from my place, who's very deep in the self-storage space, and he was actually the chairman of the board of the National Self-Storage Association. So I took this guy into his office, and he and another advisor of mine interrogated him for about an hour and a half. And it was only after that I became really serious. And then I had myself and my team flew down to their headquarters in Atlanta and checked out their team and checked out some of their assets, and then after that ran them through a LexisNexis and did a really deep dive background check on them. But no, these guys, one of the questions that I asked them then was like, what else do you do? Do you invest in oil or multifamily or farmland or anything else? Nope, just self-storage, 42 times. I mean, when you think about that and having, being in that business for 30 years and being through a couple of those downturns and some of those cycles, I mean, that's the kind of experience you want when you're talking about a team. And no, it's they're very professional. They know what they're doing.
You're listening to Dave Zook on the Cashflow Ninja podcast. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor.
MC Laubscher is the host of the top-rated business and investing podcast, Cashflow Ninja, and also the president of Producers Wealth. Producers Wealth assists people in creating, protecting, and perpetually multiplying wealth in any economy through creating processes that help them increase their production, provide them with liquidity, passive income generators, and opportunities for enormous growth. Learn more about their time-tested and proven systems at yourownbankingsystem.com.
Are you having a hard time finding great investment properties? Unfortunately, the best deals are rarely found locally. Successful investing begins with the right properties in the right markets. Norada Real Estate provides everything you need to invest in the best deals across the United States. Our simple, proven system will help you create real wealth and passive monthly cash flow. Learn how to find the best deals by downloading your free copy of The Ultimate Guide to Passive Real Estate Investing at noradarealestate.com. That's NORADA realestate.com.
You're listening to Dave Zook on the Cashflow Ninja podcast, and now back to our interview. Absolutely. And I love the focus too. Do you invest in something else? No, we're sticking on self-storage, right? That's what we do. So I love that.
Well, and that allows me to, focus on more than one asset class at a time. If I have a team that has their one thing and that's what they're good at, now I don't have to worry about, do I have to be, the sharpest self-storage guy around? No, I've got a team that is. So that takes some pressure off of me when I'm dealing with a team that is on top of their game.
No, absolutely. And some of the other opportunities with regarding multifamily you spoke about, can you share a little bit more about that project?
Well, we all know that the multifamily space is, there's still deals out there, but they're harder to find.
Yeah.
And some of the deals that we've done in the last year or two, we've had to get creative, come in with cash, show up real strong as a buyer, waive all kinds of contingencies, and we've actually got some really good deals doing business that way. But even that is, it's harder. This next deal that we're doing in, just outside of the southern Memphis area in northern Mississippi, an area that we're very familiar with. We're very excited about that deal, but it's different. It's got a HUD loan wrapped around it. Not just anybody can qualify for a HUD loan. When you can get it, it's a sweet deal, but it's hard. So the typical multifamily deal that you could pick up 3, 4, 5 years ago, those deals aren't around anymore.
Right. And that ties into, I wanted to hold this question specifically on the multifamily too. You touched on the economic cycle, and we've definitely seen, you've mentioned it's harder to find good deals in the multifamily space. They're still out there, but you have to get creative. And you recently attended that Future Money Well show with Simon Black, Kiyosaki, and all those guys speaking there. What is the overall consensus of what are you seeing, and what did you learn from that conference of how everyone else is seeing this current economic cycle and also this market cycle that we're in with these assets, and also specifically multifamily?
Well, there's a number of things, but one of the things that really stood out to me was Doug Duncan, the economic advisor, the chief economist for Fannie Mae. I had lunch with him. I had a private conversation with him, and he's looking at 2018 as being robust. His charts and the research he's done shows there could be some kind of a slowdown in mid to late 2019. It kind of confirmed there was a bunch of things throughout the event that were like little confirmation things for me. And I'll just share a couple of them. We're taking some profits in the multifamily space. We sold our first syndicated multifamily property about 2 weeks ago. We bought this property for just over $20,000 a door, and we sold it for right around $36,000 a door 2 years and 2 days later.
Wow.
And so we're taking some profits, and we're also doing refinances. We're taking properties that we bought 3-4 years ago that had a 5-year balloon coming up, and we're rolling them into an agency loan with Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, and getting a 10-12 year fix with 30-year AM. So we're doing some of that stuff and really buttoning up the ones that we plan to keep over the long term. We're kind of buttoning those up, and if somebody comes along and wants to buy one of our properties for a real premium, we'll take some profits. We think it's the right time.
Yeah, no, that's very, very interesting to see just how you're constantly preparing for whatever might come, right? And taking advantages of things in the current environment to help position you that regardless of whether it goes up, down, or sideways, you guys will be in a pretty good position moving forward in whatever economic environment you guys might find yourself.
Well, there's no guarantees, but we certainly are taking steps to kind of batten down the hatches and making sure some of those things are tightened up.
Yeah, absolutely. You've touched on the Belize project. This is an exciting one that you've spoken on the show about. For listeners not familiar with that project, I would highly recommend going back to the previous episodes I did with Dave on this to listen about it. But can you share a little bit more about that? And you've mentioned there's an opportunity now because someone actually sold their portion or their lot in the deal.
There is a lot of exciting stuff going on at Mahogany Bay Village right now. We just sent out a newsletter this morning to our investors that talked about we're gaining momentum in the bookings. One of the things that, we opened as a curio collection by Hilton on December 6th of last year. So, 4 months ago? And one of the things that we couldn't do before we opened was market ourselves pre-opening. It would have been nice if we could have started marketing our opening, 6 months ahead of time and opened the doors with a big bang. but I guess Hilton had some experiences with, deadlines, being missed and resorts not ready to be open when they said it was going to be. So you can't open, or you can't market pre-opening. So we were a little bit slow coming out of the gates because of that, even though when we were down with a lot of our investors in February, there was parts of that time that we were there over 4 days that, we were 80% occupied.
Wow.
Even despite the fact that you couldn't, market ourselves pre-opening. But no, we're gaining some real momentum. We've been mentioned in Bloomberg and Travel and Leisure and, a few different major magazines. That, and it doesn't hurt to have, Hilton with their 100 million plus database having access to your resort, or the Time Family and Coastal Living pointing at your project. So we're seeing some nice momentum. The tourist demands, the tourist arrivals to the island of Ambergris Caye and Belize in general is up again this year. Over the last 7 years, I think we were up double digits. I believe 6 out of those 7 years, making new all-time highs, and not only making new all-time highs in overnight tourist arrivals, but making new all-time highs in double digits, which is interesting. It's also interesting when there's not a whole lot of new construction being built to meet that demand. So we feel like we're in a great position, and there's just a lot of exciting things happening there. I think all of your guests should make a point or put it on their bucket list to go visit.
Yeah, no, absolutely. All of the stuff that I've seen down there is a lot of amazing things and exciting things going on. And I'm going to make a point of getting down there and getting some sun in the future as well. Now, Dave, you're always studying, you're always learning new things and improving upon existing skill sets and learning new ones. What are you currently studying and reading, and what skill sets are you currently learning?
We have a group book study with 7 or 8 businessmen in the area, and so we got a different book every month, and then we meet at each other's houses. Each person takes his turn, and we talk about what we learned. Well, this time around, we're studying. Tom Wheelwright actually came out with his firm is my tax team, came out with a new podcast. And so he had this whole, some video stuff, some PDF downloads and all that. And with the new tax law that just came out, we felt it was important that we wrap our minds around that. Not only that, but next Monday on May the 1st, Tim Gertz, who's my personal CPA, he's one of the partners at Provision with Tom Wheelwright, is coming in here to Lancaster to do an event with me. It's a Real Asset Investor Conference. So we're studying all this tax stuff from Tom Wheelwright right now. And when Tim comes in to do the conference with us, by the way, all your listeners are invited to come, and I'll get you the details on that so they can come join us if they want. But Tim Gertz is going to be there. Liz Nolan from Mid-South Home Buyers is going to be there. I'm going to be speaking. So we're doing a deep dive on tax right now, and we're going to be ready for him. The evening before we do the event, Tim's going to spend some time with our book study group, and it's going to be a rapid-fire Q&A, I'm sure. So that's what we're kind of immersed in right now.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And I mean, taxes, if you can plug those cash flow leaks and reduce and limit your taxes permanently, that's going to position you to build and create wealth. And especially with the new changes, this is an ever-changing game with rules, and the rules definitely have changed. You better stay on top of the new law changes.
Oh yeah, and if your listeners go back to our earlier conversations on previous podcasts, one of the things that really got me into investing in real estate was taxes.
Right.
I had some successful businesses. I got myself in a position where I was paying almost $500,000 in tax in a year, and it was I was always taught from the time I was a youngster that if you make a lot of money, you got to pay a lot of tax. And that's conventional thinking. And it's just not true. You're going to get taxed if you're not, well, like Donald Trump says, if you're not smart.
Right.
So there's ways to do it, but you got to have good people around you that know what they're doing, and you got to be strategic. If you just put your head in the sand and you're out there, I mean, not even putting your head in the sand. If you're just busy working and running your business and you're making a lot of money and you're not paying attention, you're not being strategic on the tax side, you're going to get punished.
Absolutely. And that's where, especially with a team, because I think a lot of people still have the mindset, and this is where price, cost, and value comes in, especially with professionals that you bring in. The value that they will bring to you, it's unbelievable, because you don't have to deal with the IRS at that point, right? That's part of what they do. And strategy is a 12-month thing, even maybe longer than that, but you've got to plan the entire year around this. This isn't something where you run to H&R Block the day before taxes are filed every year.
You want to know how often I talk to my tax guy?
Yeah, how often?
A couple of times a week.
Yeah, there you go.
We're always running stuff by each other. Last night, I'm on my phone talking like we're talking about, hey, does it make sense to, run this entity as a C Corp? Does it, how about if we do it like that and, like this or that, or what do you think about next year tweaking this or that? I mean, we're always running stuff by each other. So yeah, a couple times a week.
The most important guy on your team, right? With your asset protection guy. I mean, those two are cardinal.
Yeah. So in February, I sent out an email to my investors saying, hey, Tim Gertz, my CPA, and I, we're going to be in Belize for 4 days, February 15th to the 19th. Who wants to join us? And there was 17 or 18 business owners, investors showed up, and we had a great time. But it wasn't one of those conferences where you sat in a conference room and, in front of a screen and do presentations. No, it was, those are all good too, but ours was poolside. It was on the boat. It was out by the beach, and it was just a great time. But it was, when you get yourself in a setting where you have a bunch of different business owners with different situations, then the questions start flying, and now that question creates another question, which creates another question. It's just powerful.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Dave, this has been a blast connecting again. Any closing thoughts for our listeners, and some thoughts around the opportunities too, and where they can reach out to you, stay in touch with you, and learn more about everything that you have to offer?
So my main email address is info@therealassetinvestor.com, but I also have we talked a bit about Belize, and we just put a new report together on Belize. You can reach out to Belize@therealassetinvestor.com for that report. I've got several different things. I know you've got some syndicators in your, as your listeners. I have 8 real-life lessons for syndicators and their investors. Be happy to send you that report. So reach out to me and just, tell me which one of those or all of them, which ones you'd want, and I'd be happy to send them to you.
Great. Fantastic. I'll put all of those links in the show notes of today's episode as well. If you're listening to this, whether you're driving, working out, or just relaxing at home, so you'll be able to grab it at cashflowninja.com as well. Dave, thank you so much for coming on the show again and connecting again and providing so much value for my listeners.
Thank you, MC. It was fun.
Life settlement investments have allowed financial and banking institutions to not only buy their equity contractually, but also diversify their capital from any economic, market, and geopolitical risk. It's been part of the billion-dollar blueprint followed by institutional investors. And if you're an accredited investor, you can also now participate in this vehicle with enormous growth potential. You can watch an informational webinar presented by one of the premier organizations providing life settlement investments, Penumbra Solutions, at cashflowninja.com/life settlements. Thank you for joining me again on the Cashflow Ninja. Thank you for all your support. You rock. If you like what you hear and appreciate what we're trying to build here at the Cashflow Ninja, Please subscribe, rate, and review our show on iTunes and share our show with family, friends, and your network. If you're not a subscriber to our newsletter, you can sign up for our newsletter at cashflowninja.com or text Cashflow Ninja to 44222. I'm also posting daily videos on Facebook and YouTube and will live stream weekly starting May 2018. To make sure you don't miss any of the live streams, please like and subscribe to my Facebook and YouTube platforms. I'm also dropping content on Instagram daily. Be sure to follow us on Instagram to get in on the action. I want to thank you for spending your most precious resource with me today, your time. That's our show for today. Until next time, live a life of passion and purpose on your terms. This presentation is for educational and informational purposes only. The information being presented and considered does not consider your particular financial objectives or situation, and it does not make personalized recommendations. This material is not intended to replace the advice of a qualified tax and legal advisor or other qualified professionals, and you should not use the information in place of a customized consultation with a licensed professional regarding your specific personal financial objectives, situation, and needs. We believe the information provided is reliable, but we do not guarantee its accuracy, timeliness, or completeness.